Uncovering radio dead zones in Charlotte where emergency radios don't work for first responders. Investigative reporter David Hodges has been digging into problems that emergency crews have been talking with one another when they're responding to your calls for help. Now he's on your side, highlighting problems in some of the city's most popular places.
Between Charlotte police,
subject put the gun in his right pocket.
Fire,
first caller said it was a fire in the backyard.
and emergency personnel,
barricaded subject.
There are dozens of radio channels and sub-channels constantly communicating across the county.
128 Lantern Tree.
But in some buildings, the dialogue becomes diluted and dies.
These radios are critical to saving lives.
Ross Pierson is founder and CEO at Pierson Wireless, a communications company that builds systems like this to enhance signals for cell phones and emergency radio.
This is what's processing the signals and making sure the radio works.
Program coordinator Stephen Thomas served in the fire service for more than 30 years. He says clear communication is critical.
Are they in trouble? Do they need help? Where are they at? What's going on? So it just becomes that much more of a dangerous situation for all of us.
We wanted to find out where first responders and the public face the most danger from radio dead zones. Pierson had the tools.
With some very fancy test equipment like we had in the backpack.
We tested the signal strength at Northlake Mall, SouthPark Mall, and the Charlotte Convention Center. Big buildings with lots of people.
It's really construction. Concrete, steel, anything you block, you're gonna also block some radio.
The best coverage was at the convention center.
We saw a very strong signal from the system. Everything we see, there's likely a system in the building. It's providing signal in the way it should, and we'd want to validate with a responder to make sure there's no problems.
The next best was SouthPark Mall.
Most of it looks good. The tower is not that far away and the nice glass windows, but as we got back into the Cats bus stop area, that was pretty rough.
Finally, we tested the signal at Northlake Mall.
Northlake does not have an enhancement system inside the building. The mall has 2 levels, one of which is very subterranean. Coverage was pretty poor on that level, and we see why. There weren't windows.
Except at this central atrium.
On the first level, those windows are big, drastically better.
North Carolina's fire code only requires this testing and an enhancement system if it fails for new construction. So Northlake Mall, which has been the site of shootings and a source for safety concern, doesn't have to install one.
It's purely a goodwill thing of a building owner if they chose to install a system.
I reached out to Northlake's management, the Spinozo Group, and asked if Charlotte Police and Fire have requested help with enhancing emergency radio coverage in the mall. I never received a response. A spokesperson for the Charlotte Fire Department wrote in an email they, quote, communicated frequently with the mall management team following several major responses to the mall in which we had communications problems. While we only tested 3 locations, industry experts say dead zones are a widespread safety threat.
I can't communicate with him or her. They can't communicate with us inside.
The simple solution is some antennas on the roof and some antennas in the areas that need coverage, and it's all fixable.
Reported in Charlotte, David Hodges, WBTV, on your side.
David also asked Charlotte Mecklenburg Police and Fire how radio dead zones hurt them and what the business community could do to help. We have more on our website, WBTV.com.